Hello, I'm Nikki Cusay. Today I will talk to you about the Republic Act 1132, Republic of the Philippines, Congress of the Philippines, Metro Manila. 7th Congress, 3rd regular session, began and held in Metro Manila on Monday, the 23rd day of July 2018. Republic Act number 11332, an act providing policies and prescribing procedures on surveillance and response to notifiable disease, epidemics, and health events of the public health concern and appropriating funds therefore, repealing for the purpose of Act number 3573, otherwise known as the Law on Reporting of Communicable Disease, be it enacted with the Senate and House of the Representative of the Philippines Congress assembled. Section 1. Short title. The Act shall be known as the Mandatory Reporting of Notifiable Disease and Health Events of the Public Health Concern Act. Section 2, Declaration of Policy. It is hereby declared the policy of the state to protect and promote the right to health of the people and instill health consciousness among them. It shall endeavor to protect the people from public health trends through the efficient and effective disease surveillance of notifiable disease, including emerging and re-emerging infectious disease for elimination and eradication, epidemics and health events including chemical, radionuclear, and environmental agents of public health concern, provide an effective response system in compliance with the 2005 International Health Regulations, HR of the World Health Organizations, WHO. The state of recognized epidemics and other public health emergencies as threats to public health and national security, which can undermine the social, economic, and political function of the state. The state also recognized disease surveillance and response systems of the Department of Health, DOH, its local counterpart, as the first line of defense to epidemics and health events of the public health concern that pose risk to public health and security. Section 3, Definition of terms as used in this act. A. Disease refers to an illness due to specific toxic substance, occupation, exposed or infectious agents which affect a susceptible individual, either directly or indirectly as from an infected animal or person, or indirectly through an intermediate host, vector, or the environment. B. Disease control refers to the reduction disease incidence, prevalence, morbidity, or mortality to a locally acceptable level as a result of deliberate efforts and continued intervention measures to maintain the reduction. C. Disease surveillance refers to the ongoing systematic collection, analysis, interpretation, and dissemination of outcome-specific data for use in the planning, implementation, and evaluation of public health practice. A disease surveillance system includes the functional capacity for data analysis as well as the timely dissemination of this data to person who can undertake effective prevention and control activities. D. Emerging or re-emerging infectious disease refers to disease that number 1, have not occurred in humans before, 2, have occurred previously but affected only small numbers of people in isolated area, 3, have occurred throughout human history but have only recently been recognized as a distant disease due to an infectious agent, 4, are caused by previously undetected or unknown infectious disease, 5, are due to mutant or resistant strain of a causative organism, 6, once were major health problems in the country and then declined dramatically but are again becoming health problems for a significant proportion of the populations. A. Epidemic outbreak refers to an occurrence or more cases of disease than normally expected within a specific place or group of people over a given period of time. F. Epidemiologic investigation refers to an inquiry to the incidence, prevalence, extent, source, mode of transmissions, causation, and causation of the other information pertinent to a disease occurrence. G. Health event of public concern refers to either a public health emergency or public health trends due to biological, chemical, radio, nuclear, and environmental agents. H. Infection disease refers to an clinically manifested disease of human or animals resulting from an infection. Mandatory reporting refers to the obligatory reporting of a condition to local or state health authorities as required for notifiable disease, epidemic, or public health events of public health concern. G. Notifiable disease refers to a disease that by legal requirements must be reported to the public health authorities. Public health authorities refers to the DOH, specifically the Epidemiology Bureau, Disease Prevention and Control Bureau, Bureau of Quarantine and International Health Surveillance, Health and Emergency Management Bureau. Food Drug Administration, Government Hospital Research Institute or OB, Tropical Medicine and other national reference laboratories, and DOH regional offices, the local health officers, provincial, city, or municipality, or any person directly authorized to act on behalf of the DOH and the local health office. I. Public health emergency refers to an occurrence or imminent threat of an illness or health condition that, number 1, it caused by any of the following: bioterrorism, appearance of a novel or previously controlled or eradicated infectious agent or biological toxin, a natural disease, a chemical attack or accidental release, a nuclear attack or accident, or an attack or accidental release or radioactive materials. 2. Possess a high probability of any of the following: 1. Large number of deaths in the affected population. Second, a large number of serious injuries or long-term disabilities in the affected populations. 3. Widespread exposure to an infectious or toxic agents that possess a significant risk of substantial harm to a large number of people in the affected populations. 4. International exposure to infectious or toxic agents that possess a significant risk to the health or citizens of other countries. Trade and travel restriction. Public health trends refers to any situation or factor that may represent a danger to the health of the people. And responses refers to the implementation of specific activities to control further spread of infectious outbreaks or epidemics and prevalence reoccurrence. It includes verification, contact tracing, rapid risk assessment, case measures, treatment of patient, risk communications, conduct of prevention activities, and rehabilitation. Section 4. Objectives. This act shall have the following objectives: A. To continuously develop and upgrade the list of nationality notifiable disease and the health events of public health concern with their corresponding case definitions and laboratory confirmations. B. To ensure the establishment and maintenance of relevant, efficient, and effective disease surveillance and response system at the national and the local level. C. To expand collaboration beyond traditional public health partners to include others who may be involved in the disease surveillance and response, such as agricultural agencies, veterinarians, environmental agencies, law enforcing entities, and transportation and communication agencies, among others. D. To provide occurrence and timely health information about notifiable disease and health release event condition to citizens and health provides as an integral part of response to public health emergencies. E. To establish effective mechanism for strong collaboration with national and local government health agencies to ensure proper procedures are in place to promptly respond to people and notifiable control and containment, including follow-up activities. If to ensure that public health authorities have the statutory and regularly authority to ensure the following. First, mandatory reporting of reputable disease and health events of public health concern. 2. Epidemic outbreaks or epidemiologic investigation, case investigation, patient interview, review of medical records, contact tracing, specimen collection and testing, risk assessment, laboratory investigation, population survey, and environmental investigations. 3. Quarantine and isolation. 4. Rapid containment and implementation of measures for disease prevention and control. G. To provide sufficient funding to support operations needed to establish and maintain epidemiology and surveillance units of the DOH health facilities, local government units, LGU, efficiently and effectively investigate outbreaks and health events of public health and concern, validate, collect, analyze, and disseminate disease surveillance information to relevant agencies or organizations and implementations appropriate response. It's to ensure to require public rather and provide public and private physicians, aligned medical personnel, professional societies, hospitals, clinic, health facilities, laboratories, pharmaceutical companies, private companies and institutions, agencies, and non-government organization NGOs to actively participate in disease surveillance and response. I. To respect the fullest extent possible the right of the people to liberty, bodily integrity, and the privacy while maintaining and preserving public health and security. Section 5. Notifiable disease and health events of public health concern. The Epidemiology Bureau under the DOH shall regularly update and issue a list of national notifiable disease and health events of the public health concern with their corresponding case definitions. The selection and the deletion of disease and health events of public health concern shall be based on critical establishment by the DOH. Section 6. Mandatory reporting of notifiable disease and health events of the public concern. The DOH through Epidemiology Bureau shall issue the official list of institutionalized public health information system disease surveillance and response system for mandatory reporting of notifiable disease and health events of public concern provided in Section 5 of this Act. This official list shall include the Field Health Service Information System (FSIS), the Philippine Integrated Disease Surveillance Response (PIDSR) system with its case-based surveillance and event-based surveillance and other duly institutionalized public health disease surveillance and response system of the DOH. Under this Act, A. The DOH's local counterparts are mandated to implement and mandatory reporting of notifiable disease and health events of the public health concern. B. DOH its local counterparts shall establish and maintain functional disease surveillance and response system which include coordination, mechanism, implementation, protocols by reporting and response measure for data security and confidentiality and procedures and provision to ensure safety of personnel conducting disease surveillance and response activities. Letter C. All public and private physicians, aligned medical personnel, professional societies, hospitals, clinic, health facilities, laboratories, institutions, workplace, schools, prison, port, airports, establishment, communities, and other agencies and NGOs are required to accurately and immediately report notifiable disease and health events of public health concern as issued by the DOH. Letter D. Data collected, analysis of the dissemination of information, from official disease surveillance and response system can only be done by authorized personnel from the DOH and its local counterparts and may only be used for public health concern purposes only. The should be exempted in the Provision of Data Piracy Act on Accessibility of Data. E. To perform their disease surveillance and response functions, authorized health personnel from DOH and its local counterparts have the statutory and regulatory authority to enforce the following. Number 1. Establish a public health information system, disease surveillance and response system in private and public facilities deemed necessary to protect the health of the population and coordination with the DOH Epidemiology Bureau. Number 2. Mandatory reporting of notifiable disease and health events of public health concern. Number 3. Conduct of epidemic outbreak and epidemiologic investigation, case investigation, patient interview, review of medical records, contact tracing, collection, storage, transportation, and testing of samples and specimen risk assessment, laboratory investigation, population survey, and environmental investigation. 4. Rapid containments, quarantine, isolation, disease prevention, and control measures and product recall. 5. Response activities for events of public health concern. F. The DOH and its local counterparts shall ensure that all surveillance and response officers shall have adequate capacity of mandatory reporting of notifiable disease, risk assessments, epidemiology, disease surveillance and response to epidemics and health events of public health concern. It shall also ensure that the safety and the protection of all personnel directly involved in surveillance and response activities are upheld. G. All personnel of the Department of Health and its local counterparts also and all rather other individuals or entities involved in conducting disease surveillance response activities shall respect to the fullest extent possible the rights of the people to liberty, bodily integrity, and privacy while maintaining and preserving public health and security. Section 7. Declaration of epidemic or public health emergency. The Secretary of the Health shall have the authority to declare the epidemics of national or international concern except when the same threatens national security in mobilize government and non-governmental agencies to respond to the threat. 5. Provincial, city of the municipal health office may only declare a disease outbreak within the respective localities provided the declaration is supported by sufficient scientific evidence based on disease surveillance data, epidemiologic investigation, environmental investigation, and laboratory investigation. Section 8. Establishment of epidemiology and surveillance units. The DOH in coordination with the LGU shall ensure that the epidemiology and surveillance units ESUS are established and functional in all levels of the DOH and its local counterparts in public and private health offices and laboratories as well as port and airports in provinces, cities, municipalities throughout the country. The ESU shall capture the verify all reported notifiable disease health events of public health concern, provide timely, accurate, and reliable epidemiologic information to appropriate agencies, conduct disease surveillance and response activities, coordinate needed response, and facilitate capacity building in the field of epidemiology, disease and surveillance and response at the Epidemiology Bureau. Number na tayo. All ESUS shall have trained required human resource complement and provision of adequate resources including equipment, logistic, communication, transportation, laboratory supply, and reagents, personal protective equipments, and health insurance to effectively perform their disease surveillance and response functions. 9. Prohibit acts. The following shall be prohibited under this act: unauthorized disclosure of the private and confidential information pertaining to a patient medical conditions or treatment. B. Tampering of record or intentionally providing misinformation. C. Non-operation of the disease surveillance and response system. D. Non-cooperation of person and entities that should report or respond to notifiable disease of health events of public concern. And E. Non-cooperation of the person or entities identified as having the notifiable disease or affected by the health events of the public concern. Disclosure of confidential information will not be considered violation of this act under this section if the disclosure was made to comply with a legal order issued by a court of law with competent jurisdiction. Section 10. Penalties. Any person or entity found to have violated Section 9 of this act shall be penalized with a fine of none less than 20,000 pesos but none more than 50,000 pesos, or per imprisonment of not less than 1 month but not more than 6 months, or both such fine imprisonment at the discretion of the proper court. The Professional Regulation Commission shall have the authority to suspend or revoke the license to practice any medical professional for any violation of this act. The Civil Service Commission shall have the authority to suspend or revoke the civil service eligibility of a public servant who is in violation of this act if the offense is committed by a public or private health facility, institutions, agency, corporation, school, or other jurisdiction entity duly organized in accordance with the law, and the chief executive officer, president, general manager, or such other officer in charge shall be held liable. In addition, the business permit and the license to operate of the concerned facility, institutions, agency, corporation shall or legal entity shall be cancelled. Section 11. Appropriations. The amount needed for the initial implementation of this act shall be charged against the current year's appropriations of the DOH. Thereafter, such sums as may be necessary for the continued implementation of this act shall be included in the Annual General Appropriation Act. Section 12. Implementation Rules. Regulation. DOH shall issue the implementing rules and regulation for this act within 120 days after the approval of this act. Section 13. Severability Cause. If any part, section, or provision of this act is held invalid or unconstitutional, other provision not affected hereby shall remain in full force and effect. Section 14. Repealing Clause. Act number 45/73, otherwise known as the Law of Reporting of Communicable Disease, is hereby repealed. All law, decree, order, issuance, and rules and regulation or part thereof inconsistent with the provisions of this act are hereby repealed or modified accordingly. Section 15. Effectivity. This act shall take effect 15 days after this publication in the official gazette or in a newspaper of general circulation. Approved. Signed, Vicente C. Soto III, President of the Senate. Signed, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, Speaker of the House of the Representatives. This act was passed by the Senate of the Republic of the Philippines as Senate Bill number 218 6 on February 4, 2019, adopted by the House of Representatives as an amendments to House Bill number 7134 on February 8, 2019. Signed Mayra Marie B. Villarica, Secretary of the Senate. Signed Dante Roberto P. Maling, Acting Secretary General, House of Representatives. Signed Rodrigo Roa Duterte, President of the Philippines. Approved April 26, 2019. That's the Republic Act number 11332. Thank you so much for watching my video.